Jimmy Buffett's widow versus trust co-manager, the $275 million battle. The trust war over $275 million. In a high-stakes legal battle, Jimmy Buffett's widow, Jane Buffett, is accusing her late husband's financial advisor, Richard Mozenter, of wasting her $275 million marital trust. The case has ignited fierce debate over who truly controls the assets left behind after the musician's death in 2023. Mozenter, who served as the trust's independent manager, has been accused of orchestrating a series of lawsuits to drain Jane's resources and force her to reconsider her role as a co-trustee. Jane's legal team asserts that Mozenter's actions are not only unethical but also a clear attempt to undermine her authority. In a recent filing, she claims Mozenter filed a lawsuit in Florida on June 2 to assert control over her trust, despite having already initiated a similar claim in California on June 3. This escalation of legal battles has sparked controversy, with critics questioning whether the trust's assets are being mismanaged or if the courts are simply reflecting the parties' conflicting interests. Mozenter's defense centers on his claim that Jimmy Buffett established the trust with him in part to address Jane's perceived inability to manage her own finances. He argues that he acted in good faith to protect the trust's assets, citing a lack of evidence that Jane is prioritizing her own interests. However, Jane's legal team counters that Mozenter's actions demonstrate a pattern of evasive conduct and a breach of fiduciary duty, as he has repeatedly failed to provide timely responses to Jane's requests for information. They argue that by litigating in multiple jurisdictions, Mozenter is essentially draining the very trust funds he was supposed to safeguard. Jane will not play into Mr. Mozenter's hands by litigating this dispute in two separate courts across the country, said her lawyer, Matt Porpora of Sullivan and Cromwell, in a statement shared with Rolling Stone. Instead, she's bringing the fight to Florida, where she and Jimmy called home. Jane is confident she will prevail regardless of where her claims are heard, and her decision to move her claims from California to Florida illustrates that she is the only co-trustee looking to conserve, not waste, trust assets. The legal battle has drawn attention to broader questions about the role of co-trustees and the ethical obligations of financial advisors. While Mozenter's actions have been framed as a desperate attempt to protect his own interests, Jane's team argues that the trust's assets are being exploited by a man who has shown little regard for the woman who created it. Critics question whether the courts are simply resolving a power struggle or whether the trust's management is fundamentally flawed. As the case unfolds, the public is left wondering, is it fair for a financial advisor to wield such power over a trust meant for a single individual? And can a trust truly be managed without compromising its intended purpose? The answer may lie in the courts, but the debate over who controls the $275 million trust continues to captivate the media and legal community alike. The bitter battle over Jimmy Buffett's estate, a legal tug-of-war. The estate of the beloved musician Jimmy Buffett has become the focal point of a contentious legal battle involving his widow and his financial advisor. Jane Buffett is taking a stand against Richard Mozenter, the co-trustee of her late husband's estate, accusing him of failing to manage the substantial estate in a manner that reflects good faith. In a legal complaint submitted on July 21 in Palm Beach County, Florida, Jane's legal team asserts that Mozenter has consistently violated his fiduciary responsibilities to her. They claim he neglected to keep her informed about the assets and investments within the marital trust, all while pocketing excessive fees for himself. To clarify, a marital trust is a financial arrangement designed to provide for a surviving spouse and minimize estate taxes. In this situation, Jane Buffett is the sole beneficiary of the marital trust, yet she shares the role of co-trustee with Mozenter. Jane's legal action seeks to remove Mozenter from his position as trustee, which follows his own petition filed just weeks earlier, aiming to oust her instead. This legal tug-of-war centers around a staggering estate valued at $275 million. Jimmy Buffett, known as a pioneer of the yacht rock genre and a successful beach entertainment entrepreneur, passed away on September 1, 2023, at the age of 76. His estate includes not only the profits from his iconic songs but also the global chain of Margaritaville restaurants and resorts. He and Jane were married in 1977, sharing a life that intertwined both personal and professional ventures. In her legal filings, Jane contends that Mozenter's actions to remove her were prompted only after her attorneys sent him a letter demanding his resignation, threatening legal action if he did not comply. Mozenter's initial lawsuit, filed on June 2 in West Palm Beach, claims that Jimmy Buffett appointed him as an independent trustee due to concerns about Jane's capability to manage his assets effectively. The lawsuit alleges that Jane was very angry about the trust structure and has been uncooperative with Mozenter in his attempts to manage the trust. In response, Jane filed her own complaint in Los Angeles Superior Court, asserting that Mozenter has been plainly deficient in his role as trustee. She accuses him and his attorney, Jeffrey Smith, of being hostile towards her and acting against her best interests. According to her claims, Mozenter has failed to provide her with necessary updates about the trust, leaving her uninformed about her financial situation while treating her with disrespect. The latest complaint expands on these allegations, describing Mozenter's conduct as rude and bizarre, and requesting the court's permission to appoint a new professional trustee to end what she describes as an untenable relationship. Jane refuses to let Mr. Mozenter manipulate the situation by dragging this dispute through 2 different courts across the country, which would only deplete the trust funds that Jimmy intended for her care, stated Matt Porpora, Jane's attorney, in a July 21 statement to USA Today. Instead, Jane is choosing to resolve this matter in Florida, the state she and Jimmy called home. She is confident in her position and believes that her decision to shift her claims from California to Florida demonstrates her commitment to preserving, rather than wasting, the trust assets, he added. USA Today has reached out to Mozenter for his comments on this ongoing situation. Contributing, Christina Webb, Palm Beach Daily News.